Hello guys, welcome to Dennis Tech Tips. In this video, we are going to be talking about Capcut. Capcut is a video editing software by ByteDance, the owners of TikTok. It is an amazing video editing software with a lot of features that are very amazing. Capcut is by far the best free editing software that I've used. It comes with amazing ready-to-use filters, transitions, animations, stock videos, and photos, and a lot more. So I'm not going to bore you with so much talk. We're going to get right into how to use Capcut. I'm going to show you the basics right now. But before we dive into the lesson proper, we are going to see how we can download Capcut on our PC. To download Capcut on your PC, you're going to head over to the official website, capcut.com. I have the link to the site in the description of this video. When you're on the site, you're going to see something like this. Right here on the home screen, down here you can choose to use Capcut online, or you can go ahead and download the desktop version on your PC. Let's quickly take a look at the online version. Now, when I click on this button, it is going to load the online interface immediately. So right here, you can edit your video by starting a new project. Now, one good thing about this online version is that you get to work on your project on the go. That is, you don't have to carry your computer along with you to be able to work. You can use any computer wherever you are to work on your projects because your projects will be in the cloud. But one downside about the online version is that you have to upload your medias first that you want to use for your projects before you'll be able to use them. But for the desktop version, you don't have to upload. You can simply import them from your local storage. Now back on the website homepage, to kick off your download, you can go ahead and hit on this download for Windows button and your download is going to kick off immediately. When the download is done, you can go ahead and click on the exe to begin the installation process. It is very easy. After downloading and installing Capcut on your PC, when you launch it, you are going to see something like this. So at the top right here within the new project button, when I click on that, I can start a new project in Capcut. Down here, I see all my recent projects I've worked on in the past. And then up here at the top left, I can sign in with any of the available services. So we are going to start a new project right now by clicking on this new project button. And immediately it's going to land you in the main editing interface. So right here, as you can see, you have different panels and buttons that you can work with. I know at first this might look a bit challenging to you, especially if you don't have any experience in video editing before. But don't worry, in this video, we are going to see how we can use these different buttons. It is very easy. All you need to do is to relax and listen. So the first thing we are going to do, or the first thing you should do before starting a new project, is to import the medias or the files you want to use to put together your project. To do that, we are going to hit on this import button up here. Now, immediately you do that, you are going to get this dialog. So right here, you are going to select the location where you have the medias you want to use to put together your video project. So in this case, I have them in my desktop. So I'm going to select my desktop, and right here, within my desktop, I have the files in this folder. So I can simply select this folder and import the entire folder where I have the media that I want to use for my video project by clicking on this import folder button, and the entire folder will be imported. Or I can simply double click on the folder and it will open the folder, and then I can go ahead and select the medias that I want to use for my project. But in this case, I'm going to be using the entire folder. So I'm going to select everything and then click on the open button down here. So as soon as I do that, you're going to see all the files that I selected, imported, or are within my media panel. And at the top right here, I have these different buttons I can work with. The first one there is the one I can use to select how I want to view the medias in the media panel. So I can choose to view them in grid, or I can choose to view them in the list format. So this is the list format. You can see all the medias are listed down here. So I'm just going to go with the grid because I like that better. Next, I can sort the media. So I can sort them by time imported, by time created. I can sort them by names, by file types, duration, and then latest to earliest and earliest to latest. Next, I can filter the media. So I can choose to filter them. I can choose to view just the videos within the media. So when I select videos, I get to see only the video files that are imported. Next, within the list, I can also choose to view just the audio. So as you can see, these are the audios I have imported. I can also choose to view just the images. So this is the only image I have imported. And with the last button up here, I can search for specific medias within the media gallery. So that is it. So I'm going to close out of this. And then I'm going to set my filters back to all because I like seeing my entire media. I like seeing all the medias I have imported in the project. So down here, I have my timeline. Now down here, I can arrange my media in the order I want them to appear in my project. Now to place media in the timeline, I can simply click and drag the media down to the timeline like this. And there you have it down there. Or I can simply hover my mouse over a media and then hit on this plus button and the media will be added to the timeline. Now if you look closely at these two medias right here, you see that at the top right here, we have this added watermark at the top left. So we have it right here on this media and on this media too. But if you look at others, we don't have it. Now this added indicates that those medias have been imported in the timeline or are included in the timeline. So any of the media within the media gallery that has the added watermark at the top left means that those medias have been added to the timeline. While those that don't have means that those medias are yet to be added to the timeline. So now I'm going to add all the medias to the timeline and arrange them in the order I want them to appear in the project. So I'm going to add this by simply clicking and dragging, and then this one too, and then this, and then this, and then this one. So right now I have all the video files added to the timeline, but as you can see, I cannot see the entire length of the timeline. So I am at the beginning of the timeline. As you can see, this is my playhead right here. So in order to see the other end of the timeline, I will have to scroll using this scroll bar right here, click and then drag to one end. And if I'm to see the other end, I'll have to click and drag to the other end. But I don't want that. I want to be able to see the end to end of my timeline. That is, I want to be able to see the entire timeline on the screen. So to do that, I will have to zoom out. To zoom out, you can hover your mouse up here to this zoom tool right here. And then you can click and drag to the left. And then you see that the timeline has reduced. Now I can see the entire timeline. Or you can simply drag two fingers on your trackpad if you're using a PC to zoom in and out of your timeline. So right now we have all the video files in our timeline and we can see the entire length of the timeline. But now I don't like the order in which these video files are arranged in the timeline. I want them to be arranged in a specific order. So I want to rearrange these video files in the order I want them to be in the timeline by simply clicking and dragging them from one position to another like this. So I want the video of the bird first, and then next I want this one, which is already in the right position. And then next I want this clip of the waterfall to come after. And next I want this one right here to come after this. So you can simply rearrange them by clicking and dragging them around the timeline, positioning them right where you want them to be. So one thing you can also do is to adjust the video mode of your project. So you can do that right here within the preview section. So when I click on this ratio button right here, down here I get to choose the aspect ratio of my video project. As you can see, you have different options down here. You can choose to make it 9:16, which is the portrait format. And you have many other options right here you can choose from. But right now I'm just going to leave it on the industry standard, the 16:9. Next to the aspect ratio button, you have the zoom in and out button, which you can use to zoom in and out of your preview section. And then on the right end, you have this full screen button that you can use to view your project in full screen. Now to exit out of the full screen, when you hover your mouse down here, you can click on this button on the right end and it's going to go back to the main editor view. So up here you have your time code and then your play and pause button to preview your project. Now this white line right here you see in this timeline is referred to as the playhead. Now wherever the playhead is where it's being displayed in the preview section. So as you can see, as I move and click and the playhead changes position, you see that the pictures in the preview section are changing immediately. So now let's look at the basics of editing, that is the cut, trim, splits and others. So down here on my timeline, I have these different video clips and they are of different durations. Some video clips are long while some are short. But I want all of them to have the same duration at least. So to do that, I have to trim some parts of the clips. So we are going to start with the first one right here. Now this clip is too long. It is about 20 seconds or more. Yeah, 21 seconds. So we have to cut that down. Now one way to achieve this is to split it and then delete one part of it. Now to split a clip, you are going to place your playhead at the point where you want to split the clip. So let's say for instance, I want to split this right in the middle. So I'm going to place my playhead right where I want to split it. And then I'm going to head over to this button right here, click on the drop down menu. Now within the drop down menu, I have this tools right here I can work with. I have the selection tool or the select tool as it is written right here, and I have the split tool. Now with the split tool selected, you see that the icon of my mouse changes to this razor-like icon. Now with that, I can click on any part of the clip, and that clip is split into two halves. So after splitting, I still have the split tool on. So I will have to go back to this button right here, click on the drop down, and then this time I'm going to pick the select tool. Now with the select tool, I can select the clip I want to get rid of. So let's say this second one right here, and then hit on the delete button on my keyboard. And you see that that clip is gone. Or instead of hitting on the delete button on my keyboard, I can simply hit on this delete button up here, and then you see that that clip is gone. So that is one way of making a clip shorter. So another way I can do this is to simply trim the clip. So I'm going to undo this. Now to undo, you can simply click on this arrow button labeled undo, and then it is going to undo our previous action. So I'm going to click on it again. And to redo, you can click on the next button next to it. So if I don't want to split the clip, another thing I can do is to trim the clip. So to do that, I can simply hover my mouse to one end of the clip and then click and drag it to either left or right, depending on what I want. If it's to make the clip long, I can simply drag it to the right. But if I want to make it shorter, I'll just drag it to the left. Still on splitting and trimming, I'm going to undo this again. After the undo and the redo buttons, I have these buttons right here. Now with this first button, I can also split a clip into two. Now when I click on it, you see that this clip right here has been splitted into two halves. Next to that, I have the delete left button. So now what this button does is that it splits a clip into two and deletes the left part of the clip. So let's quickly demonstrate that. So when I click on it, you see that the clip is shorter. So what it did right here is that it splits the clip into two and immediately deleted the half on the left hand side. Now the next one labeled delete right, this one will split the clip into two and then get rid of the half on the right hand side. So when I click on that, you see that the clip is now shorter because it splitted it and it got rid of the half on the right hand side. Next we have the delete button, which we have seen how to use, and then we have the freeze button. Now with the freeze button, you can freeze a particular frame. Next you have the reverse button. Next we have the reverse button. Now this one is self-explanatory. With this one, you can make a clip play in reverse. Next, you have the mirror button. You can mirror the clip. And then you have the rotate button for rotation, and then the crop button for cropping. So right now, I'm going to speed up this video so that I can adjust the clips on my timeline how I want them. See you on the other side. So that is it, guys. I am done adjusting the clip. The entire duration is now 20 seconds. Previously, the duration was over a minute, but I was able to cut this down to 20 seconds. With the help of trimming and splitting. So next I am going to add the other medias in my media gallery to the timeline. So I have two possible audios that I can add to my projects right here. So I'm just going to select one of them. So let's say this one. So immediately I hit on the add button, you see that the audio track has been added to the timeline. An audio track was automatically created for the audio file. Next I am going to add the image. So I have this logo right here of my channel. So I'm simply going to drag that. So up there, I have a new track created for the image. So I'm going to simply trim this. I'm also going to trim the audio track. So I'm going to place my playhead right where I want it to end. So I want it to end at the same point where the video ends. So with my playhead at the same point and the audio track selected, I'm going to click on the delete right button. And you see that the other half is gone. So just where we trimmed and splitted the video clips, we can also do the same thing to an audio clip and a photo file or an image file. So it is the same idea. So I'm going to move my player to the beginning of the timeline. Let's preview this to see what it sounds like. Okay, I want the music to kick in immediately the video starts, but that is not what is happening right now because there's a silent space. Or there's a silent part at the beginning of the clip right here. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm going to have to trim that out. So I'm going to drag this here. So that is gone. So I'm going to click and drag it to the beginning to cover that empty space. So that is it. Now when I preview this, the song is going to kick in immediately. And then I'm going to adjust the audio clip at the end. So it ends right at the point where the video ends. Next, I'm going to add the faders to the audio so that the audio fades out when the video is about to end instead of an abrupt end. So with the video file selected on the track, at the top right, I have this panel. Now this is where every contextual action of any clip selected appears. So right now I have this audio file selected, and then up here I have all the possible actions that I can make on the audio file. So I can adjust the volume, for example. Next, I can add a fade in and of course a fade out. So like I said, I am going to add a fade out. I don't want a fade in. So I'm simply going to increase the fade out. So let's say 1.4 seconds is okay. So 1.4 seconds is okay for the fade out. Down here, you also have other actions you can carry out. For example, you have this noise reduction that you can use to reduce noise if you have noise in the audio. Next, you have voice effects to add voice effects to your audio. For example, when you click on this field, down here you have multiple possible voice effects that you can add to your audio clip. So I'm going to uncheck this because I don't want that. Next, you have channels. Now within channels, you can choose your playback channels. So if you're familiar with audio, you know you have what we call the stereo and the mono. The stereo you have when it sounds like the sound is coming in from both sides of your ears, while mono is like the sound is coming in from one side of your ear. So down here, you can adjust that within channels. And then when you are editing audio, when you have 2 tracks, it is stereo. And then when you have 1 track, it is mono. I don't know if you get it, but that's the idea. This is where you can do such adjustments. Next at the top, you have speed. Now you can adjust the speed of the audio by dragging this to the right to make it faster. And then when you drag it to the left, it makes it slower and longer. And then down here, you can also adjust the duration. So let's say, for instance, you imported a video clip that has an audio, but you don't want the audio to be in the project. That is, you want to mute the audio in the video. Now, one way you can do that is to simply mute the entire track. Now, to mute the entire track, when you head over to the left-hand side of the track, you have these buttons right here. Now, with the mute clip audio button, you can mute the entire track. Now, when the track is muted, if there is any clip that has an audio in that track, the audio will not come out. That is, the audio will be muted. Next to the mute button, you have the hide button or the hide track button. Now with this button, you can hide a particular track. Now when the hide button is on, the track will not be displayed in the preview section. And when you are done with the project and you export the video, the images in that track will not be shown in the video. Next to that, you have the lock track. Now with the lock track, you can lock a particular track. Now when a track is locked, you can no longer add an object to that track or remove an object from the track. The track is basically sealed. So I'm going to unmute this. So now I want to mute this audio track right here. Let's just preview the video. Let's see how the transitions are working. You can see that there's no transition added to this video right now. So next we are going to add transitions between these clips. So to do that, first of all, let's select the first clip right here, place our playhead there. And then we're going to head over to the top where we have this transitions panel. Now within the transitions panel, you have a large library of transitions that you can add to your video project. They are in different categories. As you can see, on the left end right here, you have the categories listed here. We have overlay, we have camera, blur, basic, light effects, glitch, distortion, slide, and splits. So whichever category you want to choose a transition from, you can go ahead and select the category, and that category will be displayed for you to choose from. So I'm going to head over to the top. So I'm going to select one transition from this place, from the camera category. So immediately I clicked on the plus button, you see that a transition was added between these 2 clips right here. And you can preview a transition by hovering your mouse over the transition, and then you get a little preview on the transition. And mind you, to place a transition between 2 objects, you are going to make sure that your playhead is on the clip you want to transition from before selecting your transition. So for example, I want to add a transition between these 2 clips right here. So I have my playhead on the first clip that I want to transition from, and then I am going to select a transition. So this time let's select from this category, from the blur category. I'm going to download it first, and then click on the add button. And then immediately you see that the transition is added. So I'm going to add transition to all others. So I'm going to speed this up. So that is it. I'm done. Now when I preview this, you see all the nice transitions that are added to the video clip. You see all the nice transitions that I added. Now that looks good. Next, I am going to add text. Now to add text, I'm going to click on this text button up here. And then down here, I'm going to add a default text. So and then I'm going to click on this add to track button. And then down here, I have the text layer added. But as you can see by default, I have this text default displayed. Now that is not the text I want. To change the text, I'll have the text layer selected. And then up here, within this text field, I can add whatever text I want to add. So I'm going to type in Dennis Tech Tips. So after adding my text, next I can choose a font for my text. So down here you have a huge library of fonts you can choose from. So I'm just going to select a very basic one right here. So let's say this one, for example. And next, you can select a font size. So you can simply increase the size of the font by dragging this slider. So I'm going to leave this at, let's say, 19. And next, you can style your text. You can make it bold, you can underline it, and you can make it italics. So I'm just going to make it bold. I'm going to get rid of all of that. Next, you can add a color to your text. So when I click on this, right here, I get this. So I can choose whatever color I want right here. But I'm fine with this white right here, so I'm okay. Next, you can select character spacing, line spacing. You can also set the alignments down here. You can scale it. Within blend, you can change the opacity, that is how transparent you want the text to be. You can add strokes, that is outline. You can add background. You can add glow. You can add shadow. Next, you can add animation to the text. You can add in and out animations. You can also add tracking. Now, this is one of my favorite features. You can convert text to speech. So down here, you have different voices you can choose from when converting your text to speech. So let's say you select one of them right here. Let's say American female.
Dennis Tech Tips.
You see how that sounds here. So when you click on any of the voices, it is going to give you a preview. You have other interesting voices up here. Let's say this one, for example.
Technique, stack tips, technique, stack tips, technique, stack tips.
Isn't that amazing? But I don't want to add that. I'm just showing you for the sake of this tutorial. Now, I want to arrange this text in a way that the text will be under this image or this logo in the previous section or in the video. So I'm going to move the text layer to the bottom of the image file. And then as you can see the previous section, it is kind of behind the image or the picture or the logo rather. So I'm going to select the logo and then the previous section right here, I can scale the logo. So I'm going to reduce the size and then reposition it. And then I'm going to go back to the track or the timeline and then select the text and then drag it down here. So I think I will have to add a stroke or an outline to the text. So I'm going to have the text layer selected and then I'm going to head over to strokes and then let's reduce the stroke thickness. Okay, I think that's fine. And then I'm going to reduce the duration of the text. It's kind of longer than the video itself. And then I'm going to also adjust the image or the logo rather. I'm going to increase the duration of the logo so it matches the same length as the video and the text. So I want to add an animation to the text. So I'm going to have the text selected and then head over to animations. And I'm just going to select, let's say this one, for example, for the in point for the text. And then for the out point, I'm also going to add an animation. So now when I preview this, I'm also going to add an animation for the logo. So with the logo selected or the image selected, I'm going to head over to animation and then let's select this one. And then when you select an animation, you can also adjust the duration of the animation down here. So I can reduce and increase the duration of the animation. That is how long it will take for the animation to animate, if that makes sense. So I think that's okay. So when I preview this, so I'm going to get rid of the art animation of the text. I don't think I need that. So I'm going to select out and then click on this none button right here. So that is it for this video, guys. We are going to stop here. If you want to see more on Capcut, I'll be posting a series of Capcut tutorials on this channel, so you see many more amazing things you can do with Capcut. So please do well to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I post a new video. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.